Hello, and welcome to Moscato and Tea. This is the show for all things beauty, business, and community with your hosts, Inez and Chiquita, keeping it raw, real, and unfiltered. Hey.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Are we doing this whole singing thing? I thought we were giving it up for 2019 and you were going to come with the new song.
No? Okay.
Whatever. But anyways.
Have you met me?
Yeah, I know, right? I should know by now, right? We've been on together for a bit. So I'm super excited today. I'm proud of us. Mm-hmm. I'm super excited. Let's get into the show. Yes. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you. Well, first of all, this is our 100th episode. Yes. Okay, girl. Yes. Okay. Yay. So we have some special guests in the house with us today. As a matter of fact, pop that open, girl. You know it's always Moscato time while we stay. So we have here everybody. We're gonna go around and introduce yourself because y'all is some powerful women up in here. We love you. You've been on our show before, so this is kind of like a roundabout, full circuit, hot topics,
two-parter.
I thought you said I was going to talk. Are you going to interrupt me all the time?
That's the
I know. She just like, go ahead, darling.
I'm Lauren Amanda, and do you want me to say like what I do and stuff?
You can say whatever you want.
Yes, what's your passion, Lauren? Let us know.
Lauren Amanda, and I'm a style blogger. I also work in beauty marketing and now in television. So
awesome. Yeah. We're going to get into some beautiness.
Hi. Oh, go. Okay.
As I pour.
Yes. I am a director and DP working on some features right now.
I'm giving you some
excited about
that. She's a superstar.
Say it like you're excited.
I know, say it.
I'm tired. I just worked out. I'm tired. I am very excited about
That's good. We're going to get into some health stuff.
I just worked out and I'm pumped up.
No, working out makes me like not pumped up.
No.
Oh my God, you're
opposite
exhausted.
effect for you?
I have enough energy for the both of us. I did have to ice my knee afterwards because that's what happens when you turn another year older. But I'm Damona Hoffman. I'm a certified dating and relationship coach. I've done a few TV shows on A&E Networks, #Black Love and A Question of Love, and I do dating relationship advice there. And then I host the Dates and Mates with Damona Hoffman podcast, among other things.
Yes. Superstar. And by the way, we're also here to celebrate your birthday, boo, Damona. Yes. As a matter of fact, we're going to sing a little happy birthday.
She got candles when she goes all the way out, you guys.
I don't know how to do things little.
Messy.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
All right.
There's fire.
And there's
in the studio.
fire.
It's a candle.
That's my favorite emoji. Here we go. Let's do this.
Are you ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Damona. Happy birthday to you. I know. Wait. I was trying to. I was like, I always wanted to be a singer. I was trying to be a singer, but that wasn't happening.
We know.
So I take advantage of the happy birthday song.
Thank you. Red velvet cupcake.
And we also have our little 100th episode cake. It's a lemon cake. I'm about to cut, and as we get into it with our little Moscato. And go into our hot topics, girl.
Yes, let's start from the top. And hopefully everyone has been, watching the impeachment hearings.
So we're going to start there?
Yeah, we're going to start there.
Tell me more.
Get into it.
Yeah,
okay.
What do you guys think? So now it has, I don't know if you saw Nancy Pelosi, she did a press conference the other day and said that now that they have done it, all of the proceedings in the House, they're going to be moving forward, and they hope that the Senate will also move forward. And currently they are in the Senate doing the proceedings. And a part of the problem is that they are blocking, the White House is blocking any witnesses or evidence to come forward. And a part of that problem is that the Senate they don't want to do the impeachment without witnesses or evidence. They say it's a waste of time. So it's kind of like I don't know what the right word would be, but it's like
obstruction of justice?
Well, yeah. Basically.
Is that a word?
I know. But it's kind of I honestly feel like even if it did go to the Senate, I feel they're not going to do anything. The Republicans in the House. Plus, we got the election coming up in 2020. So I'm not really sure where we are aligned as a country, because one part is saying this, another part is saying we don't have enough evidence. You shouldn't be doing this. This is a waste of time. The president didn't do anything wrong. Just a couple years ago, President Clinton.
Sorry, go ahead.
was impeached based on
a blowjob.
Girl,
I was trying to say it plain. Thank you. I was trying to keep it PC.
It's a little more serious than a blowjob.
It's not on TV.
I know.
Okay, we're not on TV.
I know. So what are your thoughts on this? Because
is a blowjob worse than what he's been doing?
I mean, that's what you have to ask yourself.
No, I think it's bullshit.
Is it hypocrisy?
Absolutely.
Or, did he really do anything wrong?
Absolutely.
And can you weigh a blowjob to?
Absolutely not.
To a foreign, trying to persuade a foreign leader to give you evidence on your opponent. What are your thoughts?
It's funny, I was trying to explain this to my daughter on the way to school. Like, if something is ridiculous, if you try to explain it to a 9-year-old and they're like, but I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. And I'm like, you're right. It doesn't make sense. I think you hit the nail on the head. The election is taking precedence. And so I think Republicans are worried that if this proceeds, it's definitely going to bleed over into the election. And then if they don't have another candidate, then they're going to be basically sitting ducks to lose the presidency.
They're still sitting ducks, I believe.
Well, yeah, but we thought that 3 years ago, and we see what we got.
Yeah.
So I think that the evidence is mounting, and it's really clear there was wrongdoing here. I mean, there have been so many other things along the way that he's done that they didn't have enough evidence. So I mean, this is the closest that we've gotten, and the closest that we're going to get. If it's going to happen, it's got to happen now or never.
That's true.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to make Nancy Pelosi out to be like this Trump hater who's just like on a witch hunt. But she's made it really clear. I like her because she's a no holds bar. Reporter was trying to come at her. She's like,
I saw that.
Yeah, like, don't come at me. I was like, I wanted her to be like, yes. Be like, bitch, sit your ass down and don't come at me at some craziness.
Like, I don't hate him.
Yeah.
I pray for him.
Exactly.
Yes,
I loved
it.
I saw this meme today. It was like, Nancy Pelosi will cut your head off and you don't even know you're bleeding.
It's true.
She comes at you. And
it's true. It's so true.
That's why I think that's why they're so scared, to be honest, because you have somebody who is a nose hole, she looks at the evidence. And here's the thing that people don't realize, too, because she was on the fence on it. She was like, we may not have what we need. It might not be the right thing to do. But as more evidence started mounting, people should really look at that. We're talking about a person who didn't just all of a sudden was like, I'm going to get him. She's like, look, we have some things going on here. We need to look at it. As they're going, she's like, we might not have. But as things going on, she's like, wait a minute. What I'm seeing isn't correct, so we need to do something about this. And so, unfortunately, when you have a president who he has Twitter fingers and likes to do all kinds of different things and distract people from what's really going on, it just makes it a very interesting and see if let's just really see if the American public are opening up their eyes and really seeing what's going on here, or they're going to keep sticking their head in the sand. We already know the Republicans have an agenda. Like every party has an agenda. But again, if you're gonna sacrifice and put Bill Clinton on just for getting a blowjob, then we really need to do about somebody who's doing how do you call it? Putting our national security at risk. We're at risk for a lot of things, but then to be the head of the nation and to do this, then what isn't what are we? What isn't off limits?
Yeah.
What can it now? What are we getting? Where are we going to start invading? They're already invading our privacy in certain ways. So now are they just blatantly going to do it in our face? Are they blatantly and there's nothing we can do about it?
Well, that's sort of his style.
Yeah.
He says it to your face, and you're like, well, he's not doing that because he just said it to my face.
Yeah. Right.
No, he said it to your face, so he could tell you that he was doing it,
exactly.
and then
they're
you
like,
can't say,
and they're
I didn't tell you I was doing it.
Right. And everybody wants. That's the thing. He tells you. Yeah, he tells you, but then everybody's like, oh, well, no, that wasn't. No. He just said it. He admitted it. I don't know. Since when does that not? Bill Clinton lied. Is that more that you're mad about because he lied? If he would have said, yeah, I got a blowjob, so what? that's between me and my wife and chick. Would that made a difference? Because this is what they're basically saying. We got him because he lied. Well, this man is doing something and not lying about it, and that's where pushing it under the rug.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
now the Senate, I don't think they're going to do anything. They're just basically waiting their time and just doing it just for show, just to appease the House and everything. But I don't think they're going to really.
So they're stalling.
Basically, yeah, to get to the 2020. I feel like that, which kind of brings up another subject with them. The administration is trying to cut off stamps, food stamps, federal WIC and all that for like 700,000 kids.
Oh, wow.
there's going to be a lot of white people really upset.
Exactly.
That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly. Because that's honestly that's the
highest
stigma
percentage.
they think is
that black folks are the ones that are on. Yes, there is a majority, but statistics show that it's white folks that are on more public assistance than black folks. Black folks work 3, 4, 5, work 7, work a ton of jobs, do a lot of things, but they're making it. So that's what I said. Well, it's kind of be like, are they going to get a taste of their own true reality if they do this? Now they're going to be like, oh, there's a bunch, but they're not going to, media, social media, the media isn't going to focus on the fact that most of the kids that are going to get no kind of service or anything else are white kids. They're just going to go into these smaller, towns or, where it's majority black and sit there and put coverage on that and look at these kids that aren't eating and doing all of this when that's not the reality.
What does this do, taking away the food stamps? Like, how is it helping people?
I guess they feel like
where is this money going?
This will force them to go
and get a job.
Well, they're going to probably move the money towards like military funding and everything like that.
Always
which,
military.
Of course, we want a strong military for our country. But at the same time, I was watching.
We need a strong education.
Exactly. Why can't we put books back in school? Why can't we fix our schools up? Why can't we help people find
jobs? There's a lot of things wrong with our country.
Yeah. Why can't we help?
That's why I'm like, when people come here, I'm like, why do you want to come to America?
Because even still, funny that you said that because I was talking to I was talking to one of my clients about this, and she's originally from India. But she's lived all over the world due to her husband's job, and we were talking about this all over the world. And she said, still, out of everywhere she's lived, even her own home country, America is still the best place to live.
I can't tell.
I know, okay, because we're Americans, and we think about. But if you're coming from somewhere else, and seeing it, they're still saying, "Dude, it's still better than where."
What about Canada? I thought Canada was popular.
Well, she even said that Canada wasn't the greatest either.
I don't know.
They still have some
They on my list. They high on my list. It's Canada, America. Everybody else.
I'm telling you, it's really crazy, honestly. But, I mean, it goes into also, like, California and our homeless problem. It's really, it's insane right now.
It's pathetic.
Yeah, we were driving somewhere the other day, me and another friend of mine, and we were passing some street where it had this big old new fancy building, all just designed, just looked like a I don't even know, a gallery or something. But on that same block, a couple blocks up, actually, it was homeless people. So it's like, okay, you put all this money towards this, but why can't you help build housing or build facilities to house the homeless to get them back in the workforce when it's on the same, block?
Yeah, one of the problems is that people are voted. In LA, we passed a measure a few years ago to give money towards creating housing, except for everybody wanted to vote for that. And they're like, yeah, get people off the street, except for don't build it in my neighborhood. So every time there's been a proposal. There's been a proposal like we're going to build a shelter here. Oh, well, not on my block. And then people come out and they protest the mayor and they say, well, you can't build it here. Like, yes, we'll give you money to build it, but not in my neighborhood. And it's like, I think we've lost sight of the fact that people who are dealing with homelessness are people. They're people like you. They're people like the people paying taxes, that people that voted for that. And if you don't provide the resources, people are never going to be able to get out of the situation. Absolutely. I heard a statistic today that there are as many as 60,000 people in LA that are homeless.
That's crazy.
And there's only like 10,000 beds. And a lot of those beds like don't even meet the standards. You wouldn't want to stay there.
Yep.
So like you can't just say, "Oh, well, you're homeless, so you should probably just go and sleep in that bed."
Yeah.
What if it's a woman who's afraid she might get raped? What if the bed has bed bugs? What if it's leaking when it rains? You don't know. You need to be in a place that is appropriate for you.
And out of those 60,000, more and more are families that just lost because due to, the pricing of housing and everything's being so expensive. Like I said, I'm one paycheck away from being homeless. Like all of us are one paycheck or one tragedy away from being homeless, and more children and families are out there. Not that they don't want to work, not that they don't want to get on their feet, but something happened. Maybe the dad is the main provider, got sick. So now what?
Many of them are working.
Yeah, and many of them are still not able to.
Is like what in California the pay?
I think it's like 15. I think it might just went up to 15.
That's
yeah, like $15 an hour. But you cannot survive on $15 an hour when rents. A studio is starting at over
$1,500 or
no,
more.
it's a studio is starting at $3,000 or more a month.
That's crazy.
Like, and if you're getting something for $15,000, you're basically getting a hole in the wall that needs to be renovated, that does not even come up to par, or you're living way in the, you're living way out in the boonies, and even out in the boonies, rents are becoming more and more. I have a client who was just saying she lives in Inglewood, has lived there. She has a very good career. She makes enough money. She wanted to buy. She's like, I literally want to buy now. This is the only way. I can't afford any more renting. She's like, Inez, you should see the shitholes that people are there. And it's a condo or a townhouse. And she's like, I saw one. Okay, the price was good. She goes, but legit, the shit was falling apart. By the time I had to put in an extra 100 or 200,000 to even get it up to par.
Right, that's crazy.
So you're talking about if it's 300,000, you're still paying $500,000 for a condo or and mind you, a 2-bedroom.
Yeah,
that's
a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and she goes in Inglewood, and the only reason it's going up because of the stadium, and so now all of these things. So the homelessness is a really big issue, and as Californians, we should super be ashamed of ourselves, and we should super everybody. There's room for everybody here. There's no reason that we have this. I used to live in Venice. I just went down to Venice maybe a couple of weeks ago to meet some girlfriends for dinner, and I was shocked to what I saw in Venice. Venice had a small homeless population. It was, you always had to, but legit now there's a street on Venice area that is, it's a mini Skid Row.
That's crazy.
A mini Skid Row where from like 3 blocks, it's nothing but a campament of, tents and homelessness. I was like, I could not believe. I literally started crying. I'm like, this is outrageous. I can't believe I only lived out of Venice maybe 5 years, and in a 5-year period that people, and then you go another block and it's $5 million homes. I go, this is nuts. Nuts that this area is now just legit Skid Row.
Yeah.
I was
going to say, I think like when we get to like the root, a lot of it is greed.
It is greed.
Who are like, people who
it is
own the owners of the buildings and owners.
Because it's not their issue.
Right.
Yeah,
they know that I can get this money out of these people, so
but what's going to happen? Let's talk about that.
Greed.
So what's going to happen when the market crashes? Because eventually it's going to crash. Everything that goes up must come down. And at the rate they're making things go up, what's really going to, are we going to have even bigger homeless population problem?
Probably.
Because then we're going to have even more little kids and families and people living out of cars and still working, but because of all of this, because rents are so high, they're not even doing, even like you said, if you're building a brand new building, half of your building should be for low income families to be able to get in, but that's not even it. Even if I was like looking to buy, even in our neighborhood, it's like 800 and something thousand for a 2-bedroom townhouse. Like, y'all is tripping. I don't know what y'all been smoking.
People are paying that.
Yeah.
You're saying people
I know,
are
but
happily paying that.
But here's the thing. We are now, this is what I was telling, like a generation of like my parents and their friends and everybody else, and there's such a big gap between understanding. They can't understand why us as you know, their age already had homes and kids and everything. I go, you're talking a gap that there is no middle class. Either you have a lot of money or you're just surviving. There is no in between where you could be like, oh, hey, I was just reading something, or they showed that to live happily, quote unquote, happily in Los Angeles, you have to make $284,000 a year.
Yep. I just
to live
saw that.
happily. What does happily mean? You mean to pay your rent, pay your bills,
and possibly get one
if you have a vacation?
If you don't have a family.
Yeah, no family. Yeah.
Can you imagine? So you're, as a single person, you have to make over close to $300,000 a year. Who's making $300,000 a year?
Yeah, what job is that?
For real.
What, a doctor? A lawyer?
That would have to be.
Okay, so how many doctors and lawyers we got?
Well, or what's the trade-off? That's the thing I'm curious about. Like, I've been focusing a lot on work-life balance, and okay, maybe you have a $300,000 lawyer job, but you're working 75 hours a week.
Right.
And what is your quality of life? And so many people are coming to me for dating and relationship help, and it's like, you don't even have any time for yourself in your schedule at all. So how can we even build the life that you want when you're completely devoted to this job that is paying you the money to have the lifestyle that you think you want?
But you don't get to actually live it because you're in that job 24/7. That's true. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was like, shit, people might say whatever, but I was like, listen, at this point, I'd rather be able to have a little bit of freedom, you know, work 2 jobs. Somebody's like, oh, yeah, you work 2, sometimes 3 jobs. It is what it is. But at least now there's that's what I'm saying, now there's a generation of people that are kind of like, oh, fuck it. You know, I'll just take my laptop. I can work remotely. I've been watching a lot of things where people are leaving the United States. Vegas is growing rapidly.
I heard about that,
because people from California are leaving. I travel a lot for my one of my jobs, and they were saying that I go to Texas a lot. Texas is upset because so many people from California are moving and dragging prices up. Are dragging prices up where they're like, wait a minute, hold up a second, don't come over here and try to bring that California stuff to Texas.
Yeah.
Is that wine already? You know, so it's just, and then I've seen stuff where people are completely leaving the country altogether.
Yeah, that's true.
As a matter of fact, they're saying that a lot of people now, especially black people, are now moving back to Africa. And they're moving to Africa. Yeah, they're moving to Ghana. Yes, they're moving to Ghana. They're moving to these because they said Africa has this stigma. They only show you these parts of it, but they don't show you that it's very thriving. And you got to be you have to understand, like, Africa is where it's gold. That's where everything comes from. Diamonds, you know, all this stuff. It is very much gold. So people are saying that they're moving out there and they're allowed to live a good lifestyle and just be able to build businesses and careers and, you know, clothing lines and all of this. They said the competition here is so, and the way they've had it bubbled, and, you know, it's only that nepotism and who you know and how you know, that they're going to these other places and being able to be free and create and still live a very good life without all the stress and these things.
I can believe that, because I feel like in other countries, family is a priority.
Absolutely.
And it's not so much like that. I wouldn't even say in LA. I'm going to say, Damona, you're very lucky, because you have like a whole family situation. And I do have not that many people, as far as we're talking like married family to like single people. It's the ratio is significant. There are far less married people with families that I know, more so than just single people in LA. So at least you guys have each other. You have, like, you know, your incomes. And then it's like going to a different country. I feel like they're like more family oriented. Coming from St. Louis, family oriented. I would have been married with kids if I was in St. Louis. But it's in LA, it's not like that.
It's also a difference in the lifestyle of having the support from your extended family.
Right.
Like in other countries, you would still be living with your parents and your grandparents, and I would have my family to take care of my children so that I could work instead of like this society that we've built of everybody being so fragmented and apart from family and having to almost have to build another family through friends.
That's
right?
true. I always say if I got pregnant, I would go back to St. Louis, because I don't have no kind of help out here. Not to say my friends wouldn't help me, but no one helps you like your family helps you.
Yeah, no, and I think it's coming to that point.
You trying to do that?
No.
I know. Are you trying to tell us?
I can't even already mentioned it, and Damona's like,
but
so?
I think
she hasn't
it's
had
coming
much
to
of the
that point now
Moscato.
that people are actually starting to realize that they're going to have to start living together and come to be able just to survive. So that whole there's 5 families in a home. Yeah, pretty much is going to be 5 families in a home. So like you said, this being married does give you some advantages in LA where you have that partnership. But if you're single, it's hard. But how about being single in a single parent?
No.
Yeah, that's even.
That's what I'm saying. I know some of those. That's what I'm saying. Single.
You're looking at one.
necessarily.
What you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. Like I have a bunch of. It's like single people with kids, married people.
Yeah,
it's like significant.
Yeah,
and
no,
it's
for
like
sure.
Crazy. Like even if you started off in a relationship, maybe not married, but like co-parenting in the same household, it's not lasting. For whatever
Send them to
circumstances.
me.
As a matter of fact, I saw that. I can't remember who it was. Some actor. I can't remember his name, but he lives with his new wife, and his ex-wife lives with them as well.
What?
Yes, and it's
That's
a
a
very
good one. I gotta
blended
put that on my
family,
list.
and they're all very happy. And his ex-wife helps him with their kids and everything, and his ex-wife and his new wife, they get along, and he said it's been very like enriching. They're not in a polyamorous kind of relationship. It's just they realize that it works for them, that her being out of the kid or this and that, it just works for them.
It works for a time. Like I had a client that was in a similar situation, and she just realized it was a lot of stress on her kids to go back and forth between the two houses, and so she said, okay, we'll just get this place. I will rent a bedroom to my ex, and then we'll co-parent in the same household. But the thing that suffered was her romantic life. She couldn't move on. She couldn't date because she's like, where am I going to take the guy if we want to hang out? Can't come to my place.
Right.
So it ended up not being good for either of them, and the kids just had to adjust. I mean, kids are resilient.
Yep,
and as
absolutely.
long as they have 2 parents that love them and that are there for them, they will. It's much better for them to be in a home where things are functional than to just be with both parents because both parents want to be stubborn and.
Right. No, I mean, they like
Other
you said,
time.
they works for them. It's not going to work for everybody. I just found it kind of quite interesting.
For now, it works
For now,
for
yeah.
them.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's married. I don't know. I didn't see like his ex-wife. He didn't say anything about that. But he's married, so they're like,
Wait until she brings her boyfriend around.
Right,
It's
that's
going to
like-
not work all that well.
That's what it's
Going to be interesting.
Yep.
And on that note, we're going to go ahead and take a break and come back with part 2.
Thanks for listening. Take a little time to enjoy your brand of Moscato and Tea with us every day. Subscribe, rate, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and MoscatoandTea.com.